Back in 1967, every car maker was offering increased horsepower, more torque, and more cubic inches. The big dogs were taking over the streets, and everyone else had better stay on the porch. This was not good news for the first-generation pony cars, whose go-fast image was being destroyed every time they lined up against one of Detroit's muscle-bound intermediates.
The pony cars started out with a big wave of excitement and publicity, but the muscle cars really came on strong and began to overshadow them. The little small block Barracudas and Mustangs were performance cars, but in a different vein. They emphasized handling and overall balance, where the big block muscle cars really delivered a torque punch.
The Rat motor had debuted at the 1963 Daytona 500 as the Mark IIS 427. 563 Impalas ran in the 500 that year, and none of them finished. But Junior Johnson's car and the Smoky Unit car, driven by Johnny Rutherford, were capable of lapping the Daytona Speedway at up to 8 miles an hour faster than the Holman Moody Fords, which eventually won the race. The two versions of the 396 offered in the 67 SS Camaro were the hydraulic cam 325 horsepower engine with a single Rochester Quadrajet carburetor on a cast iron intake manifold, and a shut-up-and-hang-on 375 horsepower engine with 11-to-1 compression, a Holley carburetor on an aluminum intake manifold, solid lifter camshaft, and low-restriction exhaust manifolds. With the 396 375, Camaro took the short route to the top of the muscle car status board, and the lines between muscle car and pony car were forever blurred. By the end of model year 1967, the Camaro had chalked up fantastic first-year sales of over 220,000 cars. Chevy was poised to sail into 1968. Stay with us as we continue the Camaro story on the American muscle car. Camaro enjoyed another year of widespread popularity from this same basic body style in 1968. Its nose was slightly more pointed, and there were a few other subtle differences, like big, bold stripes along its side. But basically, Chevrolet chose not to fix a body style that very definitely wasn't broken. Once again, the exterior looked the same, but there was big news under the hood.
68, there was good news and bad news. The good news was the appearance of the L89 option, which gave you aluminum cylinder heads. They were the same as the iron cylinder heads as far as port size and valve size, but they shaved 40 pounds of weight off the overall package. The downside was that 68 also was the first year where you began to see the air pump as a pollution control device.
Style and comfort options were plentiful for the Camaro, and Chevy grouped them together in convenient, inexpensive packages. There were style trim groups for $29 and interior trim groups for $11, which added things like chrome wheel well moldings, body side stripes, and chrome moldings for the drip rails, chrome accents on the foot pedals, and shiny windshield moldings. The custom interior group, which sold for $95, upgraded the Camaro's standard, rather sparse base interior with accents on the seats and a 3-spoke steering wheel, all designed to impart a special upscale look and feel to the Camaro. Camaro's most popular option package was Rally Sport, which included all the style and trim options from the other groups, along with lower body moldings and body accent stripes. The most noticeable item in the package was disappearing headlights. Priced at a bargain basement $105, nearly 41,000 RS Camaros were built in 1968. When you added the SS option package to the RS, you had another choice to make, but it was a very pleasant choice. You chose between the 295-horse 350 or any one of the three 396s available that year. The 325 and the 375-horse versions from 1967, or the all-new 350-horse version for 1968. The Super Sport option package included special SS badging, which replaced the RS fender badges, body side stripes, red line tires, dual exhausts, and an all-new SS hood for 1968, containing yet more imitation air intakes. If you'd already selected a few other little things like positive traction, the heavy-duty close-ratio Muncie M22 4-speed, power disc brakes, and a high-performance rear axle ratio, your Camaro was loaded with just about every performance and appearance option in Chevy's catalog. This is not to say that you were done optioning your Camaro at this point. No, Chevy's comfort and convenience option list was so extensive that you could run the price of your Camaro into the mid-$4,000 range without breaking a sweat. But if you were on a budget, you could have a Camaro with just a 396 375-horse engine, a 4-speed, and a posi rear without too much of the other frou-frou, which is consistent with the original muscle car idea, putting the biggest engine in the lightest, least expensive body. You didn't have to look any farther than the sales figures for Camaro in 1968 to see that the late 60s were intensely competitive years in the car business, particularly in the performance and youth markets. This was a real "what have you done for me lately" market segment, and in the second year of this body style, 235,000 lucky people drove home in one. Coming into 1969, Chevrolet was ready with its first redesign of the Camaro. And when we return, we'll show you what some people call the best Camaro ever made. Stay with us on the American Muscle Car. The 69 Camaro wasn't so much a redesign as it was an extensive facelift. The car still used the same subframe and floor pan, but the body sides were completely different. Taking a page from an old Chevy styling department favorite, the 56 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, the Camaro's fender lips were more pronounced and